Today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to look at nozzle sizes because I've always been kind of curious and never really got to play around with different size nozzles. So in this video I want to try out the different diameters and see what kind of results we get. So I got this nozzle kit from Amazon and I'm going to leave a link in the description below. Check it out. Quite a few different sizes here. So I think we'll just start with the 0.2 because that's quite interesting to me, and we'll go up from there on each print. And I think the best print to print would be a benchy. Since it's a benchmark, we'll be able to see pretty well of how each nozzle does. And the printer we're using here is the Creality Ender-3 version 2. So the filament we'll be using is this kind of gray PLA, and the reason I'm choosing this kind of like primer looking gray, it's like a light gray, is because it's quite monotone and you can really see just how the layers go down a lot easier with this kind of filament. So what we need to do, since we have the stock 0.4 nozzle in there, is we need to pull it out, and you can use a wrench that comes with the printer, which is this thing here, and you're just going to go counterclockwise to unscrew it, and it should come out pretty easily. Now if yours doesn't unscrew too easy, try preheating the heat block, and as it's heating up, go ahead and try to break it loose because the tip will stay cold while the heat block starts heating up, and that should release it quite easily. So I'm gonna go ahead and unscrew it, and we'll grab one of our 0.2 nozzles, and I don't know if you guys can see, but that hole is just ultra tiny. So yeah, I'm just gonna start hand tightening, but I also do have this more nicer wrench that I can use to tighten it up here. And that's it. Then we can just put our silicone sock back on. So I went ahead and pre-sliced the models and put them on the SD card. So let's go ahead and go to print here and choose the 0.2 benchy. So we're gonna still be printing at 50 millimeters a second, 200 on the temperature, 60 on the bed. So pretty standard for what I print usually. All right, so everything looks good and it's printing away. Alright guys, so after many hours of printing, these are all our benchies with the different nozzles. So I've actually learned quite a bit from this process here, and if there's one thing to take away is that the 0.4 nozzle is actually a perfect medium between the smaller ones and the larger ones, meaning that it seems to do the best with the resolution or the definition of the model, which is the quality of the print slash the amount of time it takes to print in. So since all of these benchies have been printed at the same settings except for the nozzle size, it's quite interesting the kind of results that we got. Now this is not to take away from all the other nozzles. I think there's some fine tuning to do as you go to different nozzle sizes, for like stringing and resolution and overlaps and things like that. So what I did here was just a basic 0.4 nozzle setting on all of them, just changing the nozzles. So this is quite an interesting experience for me because this gives me an idea of what prints I should print with larger nozzles and which ones I should print with smaller nozzles. So even looking at these two tiny little benchies here, the 0.4 nozzle takes half of the time that it takes the 0.2 nozzle to print. When you're small like that, it doesn't make a huge difference. But when you start going larger, the difference is much bigger. Kind of like this 0.2 Benchy here is 5 hours, but then this 0.6 one that I really like is only 1 hour. So we cut off 4 hours and we pretty much have the same results. Obviously we have much better resolution with the 0.2, but you get my point here. So depending on what you're printing and what it's for, the nozzles play a big role in how much time it takes to print.